When he talked, even to a crowd, it always seemed as though he was talking just to you.
He taught us to look at the world through his eyes. He showed us God's grace in a field of flowers and his provision in the flight of a sparrow.
He had a way of looking into people and seeing beyond what was to what was possible. Everyone else saw only my recklessness, but he called me Peter, the Rock.
Sometimes he seemed the most ordinary of men, but then he'd do something that would amaze us. Once he spoke a word and a storm was stilled, and another time he took one small basket of food and fed thousands of people.
But with him, you learn to accept the amazing and expect the impossible. For he came to bind up the brokenhearted, proclaim freedom for the captive and release for the prisoners. He cared deeply about each small life, its hopes and fears and secret dreams. And as he touched our world in his Father's name, he did it by looking into one face, one heart, one life at a time.
He was a man who laughed with children, who was not ashamed to cry. A man who stopped to listen while the world hurried by. He didn't shake a million hands or change a million minds. He simply changed the whole wide world, one life at a time. One life at a time. He changed one life at a time. One whose heart was hopeless, one whose eyes were blind, filling us with life and love of a different kind. He filled the world with miracles, one life at a time.
People came to him wounded and went away healed. The deaf could hear, the blind were given sight, the lame could walk, lepers were cleansed. Lonely men and women found in him a new kind of love and a new way of life.
Even children were warmed by his presence. For when he looked at them, he saw their simple, faith-filled hearts, and he opened his arms to them and welcomed them. Look at these little ones, he told the people. Unless you can come like one of these, you shall have no part of my Father's kingdom.
He said, "Come unto me, come unto me, with childlike hearts, trusting and free. Listen and hear, look and you'll
As I watched him with the children, my eyes filled with tears, for I saw again the miracle that he had worked in my own heart. I had been so weary of the world, so soiled by sin, used by men and despised by other women. But then I met him, and in his eyes I found love and forgiveness and hope. And through his healing, I found in myself the trusting heart of a child and a place to begin again. One life at a time, he changed one life at a time. One whose heart was hopeless, one whose eyes were blind, filled his eyes with life and love. All of his inside, he filled the world with miracles. He touched me with his perfect love. He filled the world with miracles. One life at a time. Thank you, Jesus.